What's going on YouTube? It's your boy CamATL. Thank you guys for joining me as always. Drop that like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down in the comment section, and what you need to comment is your guess on who is going to be the highest scoring DraftKings player this week and their point total. And whoever gets that right will once again get $100. We did not have a winner last week. The ended up highest scorer was Joe Mixon. Nobody even guessed his name. So this week, better luck. Good luck, y'all. I'm ready to give this 100 away. Thank you guys for supporting as always and watching the channel as always. And yeah, hit that bell icon next to subscribe so you get notified when I do my videos. Welcome back. This is going to be the week 5 final look video. As you guys know, in the beginning of the week, we kind of put a first look lineup together from gut feel and just early looks on the slate. And then in this video, we come in and we break down position by position guys that we are interested in the slate and kind of, you know, get a better look at it. You know what I mean? Greenlightdfs.com to join the squad. Go ahead and join the squad before Saturday. You'll get college football as well with your weekend package. We have yet to lose in college football. I believe we're 5-0, going for 6-0 this weekend. So excited about that and excited to get another back-to-back banger for NFL. Week 5 is going to be a big one again. Let's get it. Now, let's get straight into this. First things first, let's start off with injuries. All right, let's talk about any like major issues that we have. All right, so the first thing is Julio Jones. That's the main one that sticks out to me initially, and I'm expecting Julio to miss. Dan Quinn came out and said he's going to judge who's going to play and not on Sunday off of who participates in Thursday's practice, and Julio was a non-participant while Ridley was running crisp routes and looked like himself and was killing it out there. So everybody's a go except for Julio Jones. I am expecting Julio to miss at this moment. You never know. Keep an eye on that. He could end up playing, but the way practice is gone, I'm expecting him not to play. With Julio Jones out, that's a big bump to guys like Calvin Ridley, that Zacharias guy, Russell Gage, as long as he doesn't get a concussion out there. He's a tiny little frail dude, and it's hard to trust that he won't get hurt. But Gage, Ridley, Zacharias, however you say his name, are all going to be fine. All right. Any other big news outside of that? Obviously, we already have the news of Austin Eckler being out. You guys know I've been waiting to use Joshua Kelly. I've been waiting to get my opportunity to be able to run out Joshua Kelly, so we have that opportunity finally. KJ Hamler is going to be out for Denver. And that's really it. Nothing huge. No like huge names outside of Julio Jones. I'm expecting Cam Akers to be back for the Rams, so that's a knockdown for Henderson. Mostert, I'm expecting to miss again. Mostert. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with it right now. The biggest name. Oh, and Brashad Perryman, I'm expecting him to miss. So, our receiver, Josh Adams, that we talked about, or Jeff Smith, there we go. Jeff Smith that we talked about, I really like him still. He's still very much in play at bare min price. All right, now let's go ahead and get into this week's slate. Now, first things first, let's start off with quarterback. All right. At the top of the list, you have Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Jackson gives you a really solid floor and is always in cash consideration, especially when he's going against a Cincinnati squad that just sucks versus the run. And Lamar Jackson, I mean, his best attribute is running, taking off. The thing with this one is I'm expecting Baltimore to get up pretty easily and early. It could be a lot of Mark Ingram and a lot of this running back committee in the backfield, and Cincinnati be the one you kind of want the offense of because they're just going to be slinging it a bunch. Now, no way do I mean do you want Cincinnati's offense. I'm saying that's kind of how I expect the game script to go. Now, Lamar's could easily hit value before that happens. He could get to 30 DraftKings points, and then they kind of pull off on the gas a little bit, start tapping that brake a little bit, and Lamar Jackson already hit value. He's a solid option at 7-9. I'm not having a ton of exposure to him in the builds that I've already gotten throughout the week so far. But, yeah, he's always an option in cash. Patrick Mahomes, another guy. I mean, he's at home in Kansas City going against the Raiders. Fantastic situation here. The only issue is this is the best possible matchup you can ask for Hilaire, the running back in the backfield of this game right here. And so you got to expect Kansas City to know that, and I would expect them to lean on the run. On top of that, they should get up easily here. It's not really a game script you really want to play a guy like Mahomes, even though Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are always going to be fine for cash. If you just have the money left over and you can go Lamar or Mahomes, sure, why not? But when it comes to trying to get that huge upside for a takedown, these guys kind of have a cap to them at this moment because of the fact that the game script could get really out of hand in their favor here. But anyways, so the next guy I want to talk about is Deshawn Watson. Deshawn Watson is at home in Houston going against Jacksonville, who is the worst pass defense in the league this year. Okay, their secondary has been horrible. So pairing up some Deshaun Watson with Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, or after Cooks just let everybody down last week, something like that could be a sneaky option to go for. Mainly Will Fuller, but yeah. Deshaun Watson's in a fantastic spot. Love his price at 6'9". I definitely am interested in having some exposure to him. He's $1,300 less than Lamar Jackson in a very plus matchup at home. Fantastic situation for Deshaun Watson. Really, really love him. I don't think I mentioned him much in the first look video, but I wanted to make sure that I talked about him a little bit. Another guy I want to talk about. So Jacksonville's not the only one. Houston's very bad in the secondary as well. Houston actually is worse versus the run than the pass, but they're bad either way. Their defense has been struggling. This game in general, I could see being a major shootout, and I definitely want exposure to this game. All right, Minshew is 6'2". At that price, I do prefer to just spend $700 more and go Watson, but Minshew has been solid this year. He's actually been averaging more points than Watson per game, and he's going to Houston against this bad defense, okay? Like, plain and simple. Now, Robinson, the running back for Jacksonville, should have an easy go here. I think he's going to be a very solid option against Houston. Houston is bottom in the league down there with Las Vegas as the worst run defenses in the league, so you definitely want exposure to that. All right? Now, let's talk about my boy. You guys know we're going to break down the guys that are in my player pool. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones going against Dallas. I mean, look. First thought about this is why Daniel Jones is trash. I can't feel comfortable doing that. I hate Daniel Jones, blah, blah, blah. The normal shit that we always think about with Daniel Jones. The problem is Dallas has just been giving up points for free. All right, you could bring a high school team in, and that high school team just air it out against Dallas. You know what I mean? Like, their secondary has been really, really bad, and defensively, they just have been very bad, all right? Now, Daniel Jones has had some tough luck going against some tough matchups. This is a much better matchup, and he's only 5'4". He is almost 1,000 less than Minshew. And this is a very plus situation here against Dallas in a game where the Giants should be behind. So not only is it, his price juicy at 5'4", but the game script is perfect here. And it's in a dome where you always want the pass game. I love Daniel Jones. I think he's a very solid option. He's another guy that I definitely want some exposure to. And another few guys that I'm going to talk about that are in my player pool is going to be Teddy Bridgewater at 5'9". Everybody goes off against Atlanta, okay? Now, I got this new software that I've been just playing around with. I'm not taking it too serious at this moment. I'm just playing around with it, tweaking things and messing with it. But it's a simulation project that I'm working on where pretty much the computer generates every type of possible outcome that we could get out of games and then is able to simulate those and come up with, like, on average, out of 5,000 games that these two teams played, how well do these players do on average in these games? So I've been messing around with that and trying to perfect that. And one thing that stuck out to me when I was doing those is Teddy Bridgewater averaged a very solid game. Like, he was averaging 3-4 touchdowns every single game damn near in this simulation that I was doing against Atlanta. Okay, so in the simulation version, this is just computers are smarter than humans, okay? Yes. At the end of the day, when this computer simulation was averaging up all these totals and running the simulation over and over and over and over and over and trying to find every possible outcome, and then kind of gave us like a average of what these players were doing. Like I said, Teddy Bridgewater was doing great. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, all these guys had fantastic times, as well as Mike Davis. So these guys, on average, just like we would expect, we're smashing in the computer generated exactly what we would expect, okay? So I just wanted to throw that out there because that is some software I've been playing around with, and I would love to eventually make that available for you guys to have it another key thing for you guys to be able to use to kind of help you on your decisions, maybe have the computer help you make some decisions, and I'm working on that. It's not official yet, but it's something that I've definitely been playing around with, and it's definitely interesting for sure. Outside of that, that's about it. So I'm on Bridgewater, Daniel Jones, Gardner Minshew, Deshaun Watson, and if you just have the money to go one of those top guys, then Lamar and Mahomes are fine in cash. But mainly those guys that I mentioned are my go-tos. All right? Now, let's talk about running back. First and foremost, and y'all might hear my little kitten in the background meowing every once in a while. I apologize for that. Here we go. Where is he? Oh, wait. Sorry about that. There he is. Hilaire. I'm going to start it off with Hilaire at 6'8" because he is my favorite running back on this slate. Plain and simple. Love this dude. He's 1,000 less than Zeke. I love Zeke a lot. I love Edwards a lot. Let's talk about why though, okay? So first and foremost, Dallas should be up easily in this game at home in the Dome. They haven't been utilizing Zeke on the ground as much as they probably should be because they've been behind so much in every game. That's not gonna be this kind of game script here. Okay, this game script says Dallas gets up early and is able to run a lot with Zeke. So I think Zeke is going to dominate on the ground, get a ton of touches. With the Hilaire situation, another same kind of situation. Kansas City should get up easily at home in Kansas City, going against literally the league's worst run defense in the league, and it's not even close. The Raiders have been giving up the most fantasy points to running backs in the league, and it is not even close. So reap the rewards, play Hilaire, don't overthink it. Love my boy Hilaire. Let's talk about Robinson. I mentioned it before. This game is going to be a shootout. Robinson can get exposure in the pass game. He can do it on the ground. I'm thinking Robinson has a solid game here. Houston is bottom in the league down there with the Raiders against the run. They cannot stop the run, so he's a solid option as well. Don't love that he's 6'7". Don't love that, but he's a solid option as well. Okay. Now let's talk Josh Jacobs on the other side of that game, because against Kansas City, you're gonna have to. I would fully expect a guy like Josh Jacobs to be utilized heavily for the Raiders. If the Raiders are gonna stay in this game, it's gonna be because Josh Jacobs is getting utilized heavily. Now, Kansas City has been a solid defense this year all around, but at the end of the day, this game script tells us that Raiders should be down a lot, which means what? In PPR, Josh Jacobs is going to get a lot of passes his way. He should get a good amount of little dump-off targets, and who knows, he can get in the end zone once or twice. That'd be a fantastic outing for Josh Jacobs. All right, next guy that I want to talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about Mike Davis. Mike Davis is one of my favorite options once again because Atlanta, like every year, struggles against pass-catching running backs. And like I said, with the simulation, in the simulations, not only was it spitting out that Mike Davis was doing fairly well on the ground, but he was one of the better receivers on this Carolina squad as well when it all was said and done. And I'm talking 5,000 simulations of this game, okay? And at the end of the day, him, Robbie Anderson, and DJ Moore just feel like obvious options, okay? This Carolina offense is going to be fantastic against Atlanta. Atlanta's going to score. They're at home in a dome. Even if they don't have Julio, they still have tremendous weapons in this offense to move the ball, and Matt Ryan will find a way. So Mike Davis in this game, fantastic. He's going to do what he wants on the ground. He's going to get the passes plain and simple. This game's a shootout as well. Love this game as well. So the Jacksonville, Houston, Carolina, Atlanta are the two games that really stick out to me as games that should be shootouts and a lot of points in them. All right. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Jerick McKinnon. All right, Jerick McKinnon's in a solid situation as well here because it's at home in San Francisco going against Miami. Bottom in the league run defense once again, and he's only 5'8". So if you need some value, McKinnon is a guy that I'm perfectly fine with going down to at only 5'8". Get you that under 6K running back who should get a lot of run here in this one going against Miami, where I expect this game might actually be fairly good here, okay, because Fitzpatrick and company's been doing pretty well. Like last week, we loved Fitz paired with Devontae, and look what happened, okay? If that pairing starts getting going, it's dangerous against anyone. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is a very solid situation because McKinnon gets a lot of passes in the pass game, regardless of how this game goes. He gets the dump-offs in the pass game. He's going to run the ball a lot. And against Miami, you got to expect the game script to be pretty good there. All right. Now, let's talk about David Johnson because he's in that shootout game that we love. David Johnson going against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has not been good versus the pass or the run. Either way, every side of this game. All right. You can play the run game, the pass game on either side of this game and feel comfortable with it. All right. Now, the best thing about this is you're getting a guy in one of the best games of the slate at only 5'2". 5'2". Now, this is a guy who's not going to get 20-plus touches, but you can definitely expect 16 or more. Okay, he gets 3 to 5 targets in the pass game. He gets plenty of red zone attempts, which is great because I expect both teams to be able to get down in the red zone pretty easily here. All right, so where the red zone targets are going is very important to pay attention to. And David Johnson got 3 red zone targets last week. Okay, so I expect David Johnson to end up in the end zone multiple times this game. I love him at 5'2". I'm not going to say multiple times. I'll say one time at least. But he's going to get in the end zone. And at 5'2", it just makes things work really, really well. I love David Johnson. I think he's a fantastic option on this slate. All right, now, let's see. Anybody else we want to talk about real quick? Let me go through it. Let me exit out of this name. Anybody else that I'm missing? Not really. Those are mainly my core plays that I really love on this slate. All right, let's move on to wide receiver. All right, now, talking wide receiver. I already talked about it before, and let's go ahead and touch on them. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. We'll start with Robbie Anderson. Now, Robbie Anderson has definitely, by all means, looked like the favorite target for Bridgewater. Plain and simple. I mean, Robbie Anderson has been getting targeted heavily, and he's getting the catches, and, you know, that trust between them two is going great. With DJ Moore, not so much, but I do expect that blow-up game to come from DJ Moore eventually, all right? So, Anderson and Moore are both in play here. This game's going to be a shootout. It's in a dome. 100% don't overthink it. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore are fantastic options. And while it has it on here, hey, Chark in the shootout against Houston is playable as well. All right, so now that we got those two guys down, my favorite point per dollar receivers, plain and simple, let's talk about Terry McLaurin. All right, Terry McLaurin's going against the Rams. It's not a fantastic situation here, but at 6'1", a guy like McLaurin who, look, at the end of the day, Washington's going to be behind a majority of games this season. All right, plain and simple. They're going to be behind majority of games this season, and that's always good for a receiver, especially the receiver on a team where they don't have a large target tree, where there's not many options that they can really give the ball to. McLaurin got 14 targets last week, 10 catches, 118 yards, and ended up getting 21 DraftKings points. Okay? Now, he doesn't get a ton of red zone targets. He's had 3 red zone targets in the 4 games, so he might see at least 1, maybe. Okay? But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter because the amount of targets he gets, especially with PPR on DraftKings, Terry McLaurin's a fantastic option. Love that dude. All right? Now, let's talk about Jamison Crowder. I talked about Perryman missing again. Now, Crowder let people down in that last game that we had going because we expected him to go crazy. He did. He got over the 100-yard mark, didn't he? Yeah, okay. So he got 104 receiving yards. I expected, you know, he got 10 targets, 7 receptions, 104 yards. I expected like 10 receptions. Like, I thought he was going to get damn near every pass. But Jeff Smith ended up having a fantastic game and kind of limiting him. But Jamison Crowder and Jeff Smith, let's go ahead and talk about my boy right now, are fantastic options, dude. And at the end of the day, at 3,000, Jeff Smith at 3,000 in a game where the Jets should be behind, at home, throwing the ball a ton. Arizona's defense obviously knows Crowder is their offense right now. So with that being said, you got to expect them to focus a little heavier on Crowder than Jeff Smith. Expect Jeff Smith to once again have a solid game. And at 3K, I mean, honestly, this might be really bold to say. I haven't ran a simulation on this game yet, and I can do that, and I let you guys know if you want. DM me on Twitter if you want to know what that is, and I'll do it for you. But Jeff Smith at bare min 3K, I mean, his floor feels like 8 to 10 in this type of matchup. You know what I mean? Especially with the way he just played this last game. Like, let me put it in perspective for you, all right? Not many people are going to be interested in this dude, and I'm trying to get y'all onto him because at the end of the day, a guy getting 9 targets, 7 catches, 81 reception yards against Denver, ending up with 15 DraftKings points. I mean, in a plus matchup against Arizona behind all game, we don't need 15. If he can get us 5 to 10, we're happy at bare min 3K, depending on the upgrades that you're able to make. Now, at the end of the day, are we going to need to go bare min? You might not need to. But I'm saying in GPP, 100% in GPP, I'm going to have some Jeff Smith a bunch because I can get some super studs around in that lineup by going Jeff Smith. So once again, I wanted to mention him. With Perryman most likely out, I'm expecting him to be out. I love Jeff Smith. All right. Who else sticks out here? Obviously, the Amari Coopers of the world, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley. I already talked about them. Calvin Ridley, those guys. Darius Slayton. I love against Dallas. If you're going Daniel Jones route, you got to pair him with Slayton. That's his go-to guy. Him and Tate are fine options. I prefer Slayton, though, going against Dallas. Dallas' secondary is so bad, I don't really need to explain this much. At the end of the day, the game script is perfect here. They're going to be throwing a ton. Jones is going to throw a lot of passes here. It's in a dome. I mean, everything just adds up beautifully there. All right. So, yes, Slayton's in play. Will Fuller, obviously. Deontay Johnson, Golden Tate, all solid options. Russell Gage, I love at 5'1". You run the risk of him getting hit too hard. He is a frail, skinny little receiver, but at the end of the day, in that game that he ended up getting hurt, and we actually had him that week because Julio was ruled out, and we got him at 5% ownership, which is absolutely ridiculous and shows me people don't pay attention all the way up until lock, because at the end of the day, yeah, it didn't work out, but for him to only be 5 to 8% owned with Julio Jones out, that's ridiculous. All right, so at the end of the day, with Julio most likely out of this game, who does Carolina know they have to focus on? Calvin Ridley. It's not even close. Okay? The focus is on Calvin Ridley. Russell Gage could end up blowing the hell up at 5'1" if he stays healthy. And on that first drive from Atlanta, Russell Gage got 3 catches in just the first drive. He was going to go off in that game if he wouldn't have got hurt. So Russell Gage, absolutely love him at 5'1". Take advantage of some injuries there in that situation. All right? And then last but not least, let's talk about Hunter Renfro real quick. He gets solid targets in this offense. Now he's going against KC. They should be down a lot, throwing a lot. You get it. You know why. All right, now let's tight end. Top tight end of the weekend for me in general is going to be Kittle or Waller. It comes down to those two if you want to spend the money. I prefer Waller because he's cheaper. Waller's 5'9". In a matchup where they should be behind all game, airing it out all game. Yes, I love Darren Waller, no doubt about it. George Kittle could end up in a sneaky shootout game against Miami. Travis Kelce, those guys are all solid options. I want to talk about Evan Ingram because if you have, where is he? There he is right down here. I want to talk about Evan Ingram because if you have Daniel Jones, pairing Ingram with Slayton and him is perfectly fine to me. All right, so if you're going Daniel Jones, Evan Ingram is a fantastic option to pair up with, all right? Another guy, Hayden Hurst, could possibly be slept on. With no Julio Jones, he's going to rely on Hurst a lot, and if Gage ends up getting broken during the game, God forbid, don't want to see that happen, but if he does get broken, Hayden Hurst is going to get a ton of targets, and regardless, Hurst is going to be the guy in the red zone that is being looked to. Okay, so Hurst is a fantastic option at 4.7 with no Julio Jones. Love that. I want to talk about Logan Thomas. We talked about why we like McLaurin. Same situation. Washington doesn't have many weapons in the pass game. Outside of McLaurin, it is Logan Thomas, and that just is what it is. They are going to be behind here against the Rams at home in Washington. I think Logan Thomas is going to get a lot of looks here, and at 3.5, if you need to save at tight end, that's where you do it. Okay, you go Logan Thomas, or you go like Atkins in that Houston game. You get exposure in that Houston game. Okay, but Logan Thomas, Atkins, Evan Ingram, Waller, and those are my favorite options. All right, defense. Now, number one defense for me is going to be the Ravens against Cincinnati. I'm expecting Baltimore to get up pretty easily here in this one, pretty well actually, and force the rookie to make a lot of tough decisions, and he should turn the ball over a few times and get some sacks on him as well. Love that situation for the Ravens. The Ravens. The Rams, I was just about to talk about them, so it messed me up. The Rams are a great option as well. Got a very solid defensive line right there with Donald. He's going to get right through and put a lot of pressure on these guys here. So I really love the situation here in this one. The Rams are a solid defense as well. They do have the new quarterback coming in. Okay, so with the new quarterback coming in, maybe he could get something going, but still, this offense literally only has really 2 real targets that can create space on their own. So, and Logan Thomas doesn't really create much space on his own. McLaurin is a beast. I'm not even going to hate on him. So, the Ravens, number 1. The Cardinals, the Steelers, the 49ers. If you want to spend down for a defense, then I could understand going like the Cowboys. If you think, like, I do expect the Cowboys to get up big in this one. You know what I mean? So Daniel Jones, I could easily see take some sacks and maybe turn the ball over a time or two. That doesn't stop the fact that I love Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a very solid game, but can he throw a few picks? Yes. In the process? Yes. Can he get sacked multiple times? Yes. So the Cowboys at 3-1, if you want to spend down, that's fine. If you want to go all the way down, hold on, sorry. If you want to go all the way down the list, you have multiple options. I was before the postponement, Tennessee was going to be interesting if you just wanted to punt at 2-1. But down here, there's nothing that really sticks out to me too well, honestly. I pretty much just want to get the defense I want, and that's going to be the Cardinals, Rams, Ravens, Steelers even. Philly seems like they're getting it a little together, so the Ravens or Rams. Most likely Ravens. That's my favorite defense of the week. All right? And that's it, y'all. We've gone through everything. We've been here over 25 minutes. I hope I was able to touch on everybody you guys are interested in, plain and simple. Look, any questions about that simulation thing, if you have any questions about how guys turn out in the simulation or anything like that, I can run one for you if I'm not too busy at the time. So hit me up on Twitter at Cam_ATL. By the way, I am working on trying to get my own thing created for the simulation idea and have it available for you guys to try out whenever you want. So it's going to take some time. Might not be this year. Who knows? But I'm working on it, and we're going to try it out and just, see how that works, because anything helps. Any little extra information that you can get to get an edge over the competition is all it's about. And at the end of the day, computers are smarter than humans. So running 5,000 simulations of how this game could end up, hey, who knows? That could end up helping you get a takedown. Thank you guys for joining me as always. GreenlightDFS.com. Join the squad. Good luck commenting your player down in the comment section. Remember to comment your player who you think scores the highest amount of points on DraftKings this week and their point total, and you can enter for your name the chance to win $100. All right? Good luck, y'all. I'm out.